Hello everyone, this is McGlasson-Gitlin and this is the storytelling assignment for Eliza Handler's class. Ready? Hello boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. My name is McGlasson-Gitlin and I'm going to be telling you a story that is told in different ways all over the world. But in this case, this version comes from Eastern Europe. The name of the story is Stone Soup. Once upon a time, a long time ago in Eastern Europe, there was a great famine. No one had anything to eat, and people were so afraid of running out of food that whatever little food they had, they guarded and they hid, and they didn't even share it with their friends or with their neighbors. One day, a peddler came driving in on his wagon. He stopped and he sold a few things to a housewife here or an old lady there. And then he began asking questions as if he was planning to spend the night in the village. One of the villagers said, "You know, it's really not a good idea to spend the night here. There's not a bite to eat in the whole village, much less the whole province. You better move on." The peddler said, "Oh, no, don't worry about that. I have everything I need. In fact, I had actually planned to make a big bowl of stone soup to share with everyone in the village." The villager looked at him with some questions. He said, "Stone soup? I've never heard of stone soup. How can you make a soup out of a stone?" The peddler said, "Don't worry, it's very easy. I'll show you." The peddler took from his bag a big stone pot. And he said, "Like I said, I have everything I need, but it would be easier if one of you could give me some water." By now the villagers had heard this talk about food in the village and this stone soup, and they were very curious. And even the skeptical ones came out to watch, or they were looking through their window. One villager said, "Well, I don't have any food, of course, but I can give you some water." He got the peddler some water, and he poured it in. The peddler said, "Thank you. That really saves me a lot of time." He said, "Now, soup can be eaten cold, but it's always a little bit better if we make it hot." And one villager said, "Well, of course, any fool knows that. Don't worry, I have some firewood. I'll go get you some." And he did. And the peddler began building a fire and heating the water. The peddler said, "Ah, now for the last ingredient of stone soup." He took from his pocket a beautiful white bag. And from the bag, with great ceremony, he drew out a very ordinary looking stone. And he dropped it into the pot. The villagers watched. Everyone came to watch, even the village cats. They were so interested, and as the water began to boil, the peddler leaned over the pot and smacked his lips and said rather loudly, as if to himself, "I do love a tasty stone soup. It's one of my favorite dishes." He recalled a time when in another village he had made some soup, and one of the villagers had had some carrots. They added to that broth, and he said, "Oh, those carrots just made such a delicious broth. It made it even more fantastic." One of the villagers thought for a moment, and he said, "You know, I think I might have some carrots back home. You wait there. I'll go get them and then bring them back." And he did. The peddler added the carrots to the stone soup. And the other villagers began to search their memory, and one said, "You know, I think I might have some onions, just a few, in my cupboard." The peddler said, "Sure, that'll make it even nicer." The villager went and got the onions and added them to the pot. A third villager said, "You know, come to think of it, I think I have some potatoes." He went and got the potatoes and added them to the pot. Another villager said, "You know, come to think about it, I think I might just have a little bit of salt beef left. Not too much, mind you, but just a little bit. Maybe that would make the soup taste even better?" The peddler said, "Of course, it's not our normal way of making stone soup, but if you like, sure, let's try." The villager went and got the salt beef and added it to the pot. By this time, the soup was getting warm and smelling so good. And the peddler said, "You know, this is going to be a delicious stone soup, but I find that a soup really becomes a real soup when there's a little bit of salt, maybe some spices." And a little boy, who was the poorest boy from the poorest family in the whole village, stepped forward and he said, "Sir, we don't have any food in our house. We can't even put anything in there, but I think we might have some spices and salt left. Can I put those into the soup?" The peddler said, "Of course, dear boy. Go get your spices and salt and put it in the soup." And the little boy did, and he added the spices in the soup, and the soup cooked. And when it was done, the whole village had a delicious bowlful of fantastic and wonderful stone soup all together. And from that day on, even when the famine was all over and everyone had plenty of food to eat again, each and every member of that village remembered that that bowl of stone soup was the best bowl of soup they had ever had. The end.